All right, so we are back at it again today. We're going to be talking about the same kind of subject that we kind of left off on the last video. If you watched our recent podcast, we were talking about idolizing materialistic things and how that kind of stunts your growth as far as growing spiritually and mentally. I feel like it kind of hinders you from getting past that plateau because you're so stuck on holding on to something that actually doesn't benefit you at all. There's definitely a lot more cons to holding on to things than it is any pros, and I can attest to that because we were talking about on the last video how crystals allegedly, is kind of able to provide you with certain energy, right? Take away certain energy, when the only thing that it will do is deplete your inspiration onto things that matter the most. Because if we're over here trying to connect with God, right, then we shouldn't be looking for that connection through the crystals or anything like that. Anything that you use a lot is considered idolizing, and that's a commandment that God definitely has explained or exemplified in the Bible a lot. Is holding on to things and looking up to things that are just false. And we are definitely today in this world, I feel like in this time, I feel like we're more attached to things than we were then. Then we were over here worshiping statues and trying to create something, right? Or people. But now it's like we have these false, these things that just are not really good for you in our hands. We have them in our hands. We have them in our vision. We have them pretty much everywhere. Sneakers, it's just things are much more easier to idolize, and sometimes you might idolize something you don't even know you're doing. So like that is a subject that we want to kind of touch on, and definitely give examples, experiences. Do you have anything you want to add to that? Because there's so much, and I can go on forever because I've been there.
Just like God's first commandment is not to idolize any other god, any other idols. And the thing is that we my dad just said, we idolize so many things that we don't even realize. Nope. And it's kind of crazy, phones, TVs, consoles, all that stuff is a form of idolizing if you don't do it in moderation and with the right reason. Just because you're using a console doesn't mean you idolize it. It just, you have to know why you're using it. You have to understand that you're doing it in the grace of God. You have to understand, the reasons why you do it. And I've heard this in a video before about video game addiction, that when it comes to video games, if you play them for more than 1 hour, after that, it's not even fun anymore. That's straight addiction. Mm-hmm. And that's where moderation comes in hand. So, what matters is that when you notice that you idolize anything, you acknowledge that, because we all idolize stuff. Definitely, I have stuff that I've still idolized that I've acknowledged, and I'm trying, do it with the mindset of God, the way He would do it, the way Jesus Christ would do it. But what matters is that we acknowledge that we may be idolizing something, and that may be hindering the connection that we have with our faith, and then change the fact that we idolize it. Doesn't mean you have to stop using it.
Yeah.
It depends. If you're using a bracelet with a crystal on it, you should probably stop using that, because you can't really bypass that. That is, you're straight up, if you have that, even if you don't have it with the same intention, it's still supposedly, people might look at you and think a different perception, and people's thoughts, they feed into your energy. So you may, so certain things you don't have to stop doing just because you notice that you idolized it, but you do have to acknowledge it, change your way of doing things. Maybe do it less. Maybe do it thinking about God, maybe do it with an intention, with a faithful intention, I guess you could say. So, crystals, something that we probably all have experienced. I have some examples I'd like to talk about. I'll leave it at this scripture and then give it to Jaden for whatever he wants to add on. But Exodus 34:14 says, "And thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God."
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think idolizing is something we all do, and none of us are perfect. So even if you are very connected with God, you're always gonna idolize things. But like backing off of what JJ said, is you just have to do it with the intentions of God. You have to do it like not do it with like try to not do it like with the mindset of like, oh, okay, like this is just something I like don't do it like, oh, I don't think this is bad, like I'm just gonna do it because I don't think this is like I don't think it's that bad if I do this more than you gotta do it with like the intentions of like, yeah, I'm doing this more than I would spend time with God. But you have to do it with the mindset of like, okay, this is how God would do it, or this is how like I should maybe moderate how long I actually do this for. Maybe I don't need to do this for 5 hours. Maybe I could do it for an hour today, and then, or like something like that. And just overall, I mean, crystals is definitely a big one, because I wouldn't say crystals for me, but more so like I said of the last video, like the evil eye bracelet, something that you could like say that I idolize that because I wore it every day and I actually believed some sort of what it did. Even if I didn't mean it with those intentions, I still wore it, so other people probably thought that's what I was, into. But yeah, you're always gonna idolize, but like just you gotta know when it's not. You have to know when it's actually like getting really really bad. Like if you're actually and idolizing, like even if it's like a person, like if you're like looking at like you want to be like a person, that's even like that's just as worse. Like that's it's all idolizing is bad, but like if you're like you want to be like a famous celebrity or something, like that guy is so cool, like I want to be like him. You should check yourself, because that's something you could definitely like stop doing, rather than like a phone. It's like it's hard because you use a phone for everything. You kind of like, if it's work, if it's school, like you have to kind of use that. But if you're idolizing a person, or like bracelets like you just said, or necklaces, like that's something you could stop doing. But some other stuff is a lot harder, but it's just about how well you moderate that and understand that's bad.
But I feel like what you said right there, that you can even idolize people. That, of course, having like an idol or role model is one example of that. But an extreme example would be like even idolizing, like let's say you're a parent, even idolizing like your kid, your child. Like I don't know where I heard this from, but like it was like a story, or maybe it was a made up story. I don't know. But like imagine like you were going to church and you knew people, like you knew the priest and stuff, and then you had a child, and you wanted to, and then you stopped going to church. And then like a year later, you're shopping and you see the priest who knew you, and he asked you, why aren't you going to church anymore? And then you make the mistake that you've been making for the last year by responding by, oh, I just want to spend more time with my child rather than God. That's an extreme example. Yes, it's your offspring, it's your seed. But I mean, if you're a man, it's your seed. But like God gave you that child. God gave you that child. You're worshiping, or you're idolizing. You're not idolizing its origins. It was the Father who gave you that, and you need to raise that child in the eye of how God would. You need to still like just because God gave you a gift doesn't mean you just take that gift selfishly. Like Exodus 23:8, and thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise and preventeth the words of the righteous. That doesn't mean that's Old Testament, but it doesn't mean that you have to not take the gift. Just don't make the foolish mistake of overindulging into the gift and not appreciating where the gift really came from, and all gifts come from God.
Following up from what you just said, on John 14:6 and 7, Jesus said, and again, these are things that are just simply made for us to kind of follow. God gives us guidance. It's up to us to make the choice whether we want to go that way or this way. And a lot of us like to overcomplicate things when in reality, it's just so simple. It's simple, but then again, it's easier to do the wrong than it is to do the good, because it feels, sometimes the bad may give you that Napoleon complex, where if I tell you this pill right here is going to make you stronger mentally, that red pill is going to make you mentally see past the blurry, see past the fuzzy. You're going to be able to think much quicker. You're going to be able to provide answers much quicker. You're going to be able to just be one with self much quicker. And on top of that, you're going to be able to see things that other people can't see. That red pill is going to be the pill that is going to provide all the answers you ever had in life. Any questions that you may have had in life no longer has to be answered by your father, your mother, or God. This red pill will answer them for you. You're going to take it, and you're going to, because the mind is such a strong tool, all right? Because God said, God created us in his image. All right. When we were in the Garden of Eve, what did the devil say to Eve? You're gonna be able to know things. You're gonna be able to know more. Don't you want to be just like God? All right. And what did we do? We were tempted, and we gave in. And because we all, at some point in life, we want to always be better. It's competitive. As humans, we are very competitive with each other. And if you tell me that I can be better than this person who I've always admired, all right, or idoled, then I'm going to take that pill, right? And because of that, the mind is such a strong tool, because it could easily be manipulated. And if you are the enemy, if you are on the opposite, you're going to manipulate that brain. You're going to manipulate that part of me that is vulnerable. And because the mind is strong, what to press, all right? And you're going to be ahead of me, because you're now telling me what to do. All right. And you might send me to the grave and I won't even know it. You might tell me to cross this bridge and jump, and I'm not even going to know it, because now I'm in your hands. You're now possessing me. And that's how dangerous idolizing can be. But we don't know it sometimes, or most of the time, until we crash. Jesus says on John chapter 14:6 and 7, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So he says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So it is the only way. It is the only way to be, who we are supposed to be. And in that sense is worshiping God. And in that sense, there is no one that we should be idolizing, but trying to be more perfect like Jesus Christ. Bottom line. And when we're putting these materials in front of us, and I'm telling you that this red pill is going to get you there because I take it, and look at me. I'm the man. I'm the one over here flaunting. I'm the one over here balling, if you want to say. I have everything. I have everything. You have everything that the world has to offer. But after this world, there's a whole lot more. There's a whole nother chapter. And what am I going to have there? I'm over here trying to be the best here in this world. I'm trying to be the best in the world, right? But what am I doing for my spiritual self? Because once this all is gone, I'm not taking none of this with me. If I'm empty, where am I going? That's what I want to know. I want to know where I'm going. Because the afterlife is longer than this physical life. And if this physical life is only 50 years or 60, for many of us have this clock that we are not aware of. And because of that, we should take advantage of every day we have. Okay, we should not be worrying about tomorrow. We should be thinking about the present moment here and taking advantage of it and making the best out of what you have here in this moment. But because we're always thinking about how we can be better than someone else, we're always going to be thinking about tomorrow. We're always going to be thinking about ahead. And because of that, we're always going to never meet where we should be. And spiritually, we're empty when we're idolizing people. When we're idolizing things, spiritually, we are empty. There's a void. And because of that, when we go to the next, it's going to be empty. It's going to be dark. There's not going to be anybody there to hold your hand. Because when you were alive, Isaiah 38:18 says, all right, the grave will not be able to praise thee, all right, and the dead will not be able to celebrate thee, and they that go down to the pit shall not have hope, meaning you should not know the truth. So we're more alive right now than anything. We have the ability to praise God. We have the ability to talk about God. We have the ability to hope for the truth. What is truth? It's certainly not materials, and it's certainly not crystals.
Coming off of what he just said, when he mentioned, like what you have here, if just like whatever you have here is not going to come with you in the afterlife. Matthew 19:24 says, and again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go to the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. And if you are, idolizing, let's just say, like as an example, these people who are rich and have a lot of money, and you're like, man, I want to have a lot of money, I want to do all this, but you got to understand that, like, they are not taking any of that with them, and like that scripture said, most likely they're not going to enter into the kingdom of God because of what they have here, because it's not coming with them after. So idolizing those people, or just in general just idolizing like these really, I don't know, expensive things that you just think are like, really, really, really cool. Like none of that stuff comes with you, So idolizing things is just, it's just idolizing things like that. Like, I think, like, for me, like I said earlier too, I think like idolizing a person is like one of the worst things, because you should never idolize a person, or like a celebrity. You should never idolize any of those people, because who knows what they, you don't know them personally. You can know God, and like, but you cannot know those people personally. You never know what they do. So it's like idolizing them. You never know. Maybe they could be the worst person ever, but you just think they're cool and all this stuff because you see them on like TV. But they'd be like the worst person ever, and you're idolizing them. So yeah, that's what I just want to say.
Yeah, idolizing people, that is a form of humanism. It's just idolizing humans. It's the weirdest thing you can do. What was I gonna say? Oh, I wanted to go back to what you were saying about how we make the choice whether or not, like, we like, God gives us the option to make the choice, and whether or not we, like, he gives us the information, he gives us the guidance, and we have the option whether or not to go towards him or away from him. There's no in between. You can't go to the sides. It's towards him or away from him. And what I remember hearing from online somewhere is that God also gives us the free will. Like, he gives us free will, right, to do what we want. That's why we committed sin, because he gave us free will. But what good would free will be if he didn't give us the options to do things? What good would free will be if God didn't allow for the fruit of the tree that Adam and Eve ate from to be there? That's not an option. If he didn't allow that fruit to be there, that's not an option. So he gives us options, So God gives us free will, and then what good would free will be without options? So we can take that mindset towards the idols that we worship, that we can worship these idols because of our own free will, because God doesn't prevent us from having that option to do that, because once again, what good, like, all his angels, they have free will, because they have free will and then they have the options. That's why one betrayed the kingdom, because he allows for the options That's what makes him so great, such a good God, because he gives us the options to do what we want and the free will to do what we want. So we can take that mindset towards everything that we worship nowadays. Like we can pick up our phone and spend the next hour or two on it because he gives us that option. But is that what he wants? Is that what he wants from us? Like, just think about, if you were next to Jesus Christ, would you pull out your phone? Just think about that, because he's next to you right now. So if you were next to him physically and you saw him, would you pull out your phone? Would you let him listen to the same music you're listening to? Would you let him watch the same stuff you're watching? Like, that mindset can easily change your life. Like, would you let him watch your whole day? Would you let him watch your worst day out of the week? That mindset can easily change your life, because you're not worshiping idols when you're not going to be worshiping idols if Jesus Christ is right next to you, because you're going to try to put on a fake face almost if you worship idols while he's not watching you, because you don't think he's watching you, but he's always next to you. So even though you can't see him in the physical, you can't see him right now because it's spiritual, you have to understand that he is next to you, and that when the time comes, will you pull out your phone when he's next to you? And to move on to our experiences, one thing I can remember is we went to a mall once. I think it was, we went to a mall, and then my mom saw a crystal shop, a bracelet shop, and we were shopping. We were in like bracelets all the time, and she was like, "Oh, you guys want to go in?" And we went in, like all of us, all 5 of us, the whole family. We were like baffled by what these crystals say they can do. Like, they can remove negative energy, like they can add positive energy, and that's just something like that was a sin. We were committing a sin together as a family. Like, that's something, like, look back on and you regret. Mm-hmm. And that's what sticks in my mind when it comes to talking about experiences. So
I can go on forever talking about experiences, but I just want to say how we become desensitized to sin. We don't really know what we could be doing, especially if the one you live up to gives you the example of everything seems to be okay. And that is my fault, because I was once, straight hardcore, if you want to say, into being a Christian, and I fell off. And as I became a father, I was doing what I needed to do to make sure that as a father I'm able to provide, but spiritually I wasn't. And because of that, I was not leading by good examples, and they became desensitized, and it was like a numbness feeling of what's so wrong with that? There's really nothing wrong with that. Who am I to say this is something wrong when I'm practicing it myself? So it took time. Healing takes time, and God has given us an opportunity over and over to correct our mistakes, but a lot of us, unfortunately, never seem to wake up. Never seem to wake up from this nightmare. All right. I wanted to say, in 1720 Matthew, you have little faith, and I can surely tell you that all you need is faith the size of a small mustard seed, and you can move a mountain. You can tell it to go here or there, and it will move. And then he says, I can tell you nothing will be impossible for you. So all you need is faith, right? All you need is faith, and it doesn't need to be huge. It could just be as small as a mustard seed. All right, it doesn't have to be huge. And because of that, it just goes to show how patient God is waiting for us. It just goes to show that we don't have to be so extravagant and become so we don't have to boast. We don't have to look at my nice fancy red car. Look at my nice fancy chain that I'm wearing around my neck. Look at these amazing things that I have acquired my whole entire life. Don't you think this will take me to the kingdom of heaven? Negative. All you need is the faith the size of a small mustard seed, and you can command anything to move, and you can actually, make the earth shatter with a small size mustard seed and that's all you basically need is in general just small faith, and because of that you can do so much more. And we do not need to rely on anything but Christ, but Jesus Christ. And that is the one thing. If there's any takeaways from this video, the experience that you're getting right now through us is an amazing, because I wish I had someone there telling me that that's all I needed, and I didn't. And now I'm here for them, and in return he is here for me. So I'm able to reflect that beautiful love, that overwhelming. It could be very overwhelming, but I accept it, I praise it, I embrace it so that I can reflect it. It's a radiance that I don't want to ever stop. But yeah, I idolized a lot of crystals. I idolized a lot of energetic ways of getting it from them, and I would read books on them, and day in day out think that I'm doing the best thing, but I'm not. I'm actually getting worse. And I used to always wake up tired and wondering why I'm drinking water, I'm eating food, I'm a healthy nut. Why do I feel so empty? Why do I feel so empty? And it's because of that Napoleon dynamite, that Napoleon complex of, they said that this is going to be good for you. Or I'm reading Amazon reviews about this amazing nutritional thing that I want to buy. And they all say that it's great, but I take it and I don't feel nothing. And we're all different. We are all different. We have that's what makes us amazing as people, is that we're all different. We all bring something different to the table, but we can all be unified if we all share the same love that Christ has for us. 5:8 Romans, for God demonstrates his love that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So don't forget that.
Well, I think this is an example I just gave in the last video, but with once again just a bracelet a relative told me about, and I thought I'd try it out. In fact, even tried it out that I ordered it with my own money off of Amazon, and I got it, and then it went from 1 to 2. Someone at my school was like just giving out bracelets. I thought it was so cool. I just wore it, idolized it because I thought it was so cool. I at some points, honestly, at some points, like from what I can recall, I think like some mornings I would wake up and I'd be like, dude, I had a bad day at school yesterday. Like, these things don't work. But then I'd be like, all right, let me see if like maybe it's just this one that doesn't work, because I just got this one. And like some days I take it off, and maybe this one I might have a better day at school. And I would actually like some days, not all the time, but some days I would actually do that. And probably why I never was ever having like I was always thinking like maybe it wasn't working because it doesn't work. The only thing that would have worked at that time if I was open-minded would have been God, and I wasn't trying to learn God. So I just that's my example, is just the bracelets. So if you ever get a bracelet like that, throw it away.
So another example that I've seen online is that I felt like really stuck with me, is that Jesus Christ, he did not go throughout his days wearing like a necklace, a cross necklace. And my viewpoint on that is that, to me, I know I was like this like a few months ago, like half a year ago when I was in 10th grade. I was over here wearing a cross necklace, and I felt that was enough. I was like, I'm representing what I believe in, but that's not enough. It's the same thing. You're worshiping man's creation. Man created that cross. They didn't create the origin of the cross, but they created what you're wearing. Hands, machines did, and you're worshiping gold. You're worshiping silver. Deep down, that's what you're worshiping. And what I'm trying to say here is that wearing stuff like that, it's always like that's the best type of necklace you can wear. That's the best type of bracelet you can wear. That's the best thing you can have on your wall. But that's not enough. You have to do it all spiritual. You have to worship the only thing that you can worship, and that is Jesus Christ. So that's an example that stuck with me. That I used to think that I was maybe doing enough. You know, like what other necklace? I could wear all these other type of necklaces, but I'm wearing the one that supports my religion, my faith. But it's not enough. And many, I see this nowadays. I mean, I don't know these people personally, but I see a lot of people wear crosses. But then when you talk to them, it's like they're betraying God's word. So they think it's enough, and it's not enough. And my message to you is, don't stop wearing it because you're representing Jesus. But it's not enough. Understand, acknowledge that, and now make it enough by spiritually having faith in your Lord.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what my brother said, of like people wearing, cross necklaces and necklaces, and not actually like practicing that with God. When I was in my old school, I remember a lot of people, like kids, would wear a cross necklace, but yet those were the same kids that were getting in trouble a lot, getting cursing, all this stuff, and actually not trying to build their connection with God. You can tell, because I in a way I feel like, I don't know, maybe this is, but I feel like some people wear that just because it's kind of like maybe it looks cool. It looks cool to them. Yeah, by that they're worshiping idols because other people are wearing it, so they're idolizing other people wearing it. They're like, that looks cool, I want to wear it, but they're not actually. And that's in a way, it's like it's a little bit of a disrespect because you're wearing it, but you're not, you're not practicing, what you're not practicing, what God would do, what Jesus Christ would do. You're just, and I would look at those, at the time I wasn't, educated on God, but I would look at those people and just be like, I don't think that's like, I don't know if that's good because you're cursing, you're getting in trouble, you're getting, it's just all overall, it's not good. So if you're gonna, it's just, you shouldn't, don't wear that just because you're idolizing other people and you think it looks cool. If you're wearing it, it's because you genuinely love Jesus Christ, you genuinely love God, and you're actually, trying to be better. So
yeah, I mean, that's why we gotta walk by faith. Just like the Bible, right? We read the book. We wanna idolize Christ. We wanna be more like God, right? We wanna be perfect as much as we can, and it's a renewed mind and a renewed spirit when we accept Christ into our life. And because we're walking by faith, we're actually practicing what we're actually reading. It is a faith that's alive. And all that other stuff that we tend to kind of follow because maybe it looks cool, status quo, we're wearing it because it looks great on us or whatever, it's not walking by anything. I mean, if anything, it's false, and it's a false God that we're following. Therefore, it ain't going to get us anywhere. There's a consequence to many. Jesus said, John, what's this? Let me see here, guys. John 12:48 says, there is a judge unto them who reject me and do not accept my words. The very same words spoken for will condemn them. Okay? Now, with that being said, he also said, for John chapter 14 through 16, ask me anything in my name and I will do it. And if you love me and keep my commandments, I will ask the Father to comfort you and abide by you for the rest of your life. So with that's basically simply saying that that's all you need. That's all you need is to love Christ, keep his commandments, and he will ask the Father to be with you for the rest of your life. That's all you need in life right now. If you feel empty right now, I'm telling you right now, because I was once there. I was once there when I was worshiping things that were just, I could touch them, right? I can physically touch them and believe in my mind that that's going to be all it for me. And I was still feeling empty and wondering why this just never changed my life whatsoever. It would promise me everything and say, oh, this is going to make you feel this way. This is going to make you do this and that. And it never did. It always made me feel really, really empty. And because of that, I was never able to make an impact in my life or someone else's life. It was a void that needed to be filled, and it wasn't going to be through that. And I'm so glad that I was able to let that go and never look back, because now I am no longer feeling empty. There's no longer a void. If anything, I remember the word and I remember the love, and it's everywhere with me. I walk with it, and I don't have to show it. It's in here. It's in here. It's in you. It's in you. The moment your eyes are the gateway to the Spirit. Okay? Your eyes are the gateway to the Spirit, and what you are looking at and idolizing it's very sensitive. Very sensitive. We do it so often that we don't know how sensitive it is anymore because we're numb to it. We should never be numb to this, because this is very important. This is we're all trying to graduate. Life is a graduation. When we get to the final, it's like we got there. It is the best feeling you will ever have when you get to that point. We're all going to get to that point one day, and we don't want to be judged in that sense. We want to be one with Christ. We want to know where we're going. We want to know that we have this enduring life afterwards, this beautiful life. And the only way again, back to 6 and 7, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Simple as that. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you for you guys, because you guys are helping me stay encouraged, right? But it's also coming from Christ. Christ said, wherever 3 is talking about me, I am in the middle. So he is right here with us right now. And we're able to exemplify his love here through these lenses. Hopefully you guys can carry this and take it with you. And if there's anything that we can help you with, please feel free to comment down below. Keep it engaged, because this is important, and I want to continue sharing what I can with you. But man, just know that you're loved. No? Anything? No? We're good? We're done? All right, man. We are deuces. we're